They are now appointing security chiefs. The police has been appointed, but now we are doing the military and maybe the national security apparatus on these things. What it does is that there is some element of inertia or inactivity on the security front. So therefore, old wounds, old cases that we refer to as just being papered over are opening up now because they see a chance there to start misbehaving, because there is some sort of, I see some sort of inertia or the ambivalent state in the security service until substantive people are confirmed and they are empowered as such. So people are now jockeying for position. People are now jockeying and worrying about their job. Are we going to be confirmed? Am I going to be changed? Am I going to be moved around? Do I have a job at all? I guess there's some sort of inertia and uncertainty in the security apparatus there. That's why some of these things have blown up, because the people who are supposed to have their finger on the pulse are preoccupied with existence. Are we going to continue or are we being changed? And so therefore their commitment, I think that their commitment is not 100%. And I will encourage the government to move very, very fast ahead and finish its national security appointments. All appointments in security should be finished. And then they will have to be empowered as such. And they will have to be focused on getting their pulse on what is possible to happen and stop it before it happens. They can't stop some of these things before they happen. But when you let them blow up before, then you have a situation on your hand. Otherwise, it's a continuation of the status quo. These teachers' strikes and things, they are all old promises that were made to them that we will talk, that have delayed so long because the politicians were more interested in going on their campaigns and doing their political campaigns. Another thing that is fueling all this discontent and discontent, and so therefore everybody agitating for his pound of flesh, is what is coming out of this parliamentary audit committee or God knows what, showing how blatant political appointees or government appointees blew Ghana money. Look at this NYP issues. Is it National Youth Employment? Look at the amount, the way they have been dispensing their monies. Look, yesterday it was Ministry of Sports. The next day it is somebody else. And when these things are just, you people can overspend by 200 million and you can overspend and chop money like so much and you have not paid us. These people, now the agitators are not going to take excuse anymore, because recently when salaries for parliamentarians or politicians was approved, they got money to pay from 2-3 years back to now. How can you now go and tell? What moral ground do you now have to go and tell a nurse or somebody that, look, there's no money? There was no money. If we should declare elections now, they will find money to do the elections. So what are we talking about? It's equity. I mean, you have to know what you are telling the people. Does it pale or does it compare to what is it that you are doing? To a stage very quickly that people think that people in public office do not fear severe sanction when they misbehave. They should remember Rawlings is still alive. They should remember generals and people were shot at the stakes for allegedly chopping or misappropriating lesser monies. The fact that we are now stable doesn't mean they can misbehave and do what they want to do. There should be some fear of personal sanction so that politicians and public officials will be more circumspect in the way they spend our money. All these things are fueling discontent in the system. Definitely, if this political impasse in the courts also prolonged too long, it is also another danger to the public. I was surprised that they said that the proceedings in the courts will not be public. If you go to the international court of criminal court or whatever, I think everything is on the screen. It is live transmission. What is it that we fear so much that everything should now be held in camera? Fine, maybe because our situation is different, we can't handle that freedom. But justice is often seen to be too slow or perverted in Ghana. I would suggest that all political and legal experts should now desist from frustrating the system and bringing out all sorts of gimmicks that will prolong this process as long as possible. Lawyers are expert at doing that. But they should know that when they are doing that, they are risking the security of the state. Let us get done and with this process and move on with our lives. And there should be public education in the system to prepare people's minds for whatever outcome that will come. Public education to prepare people's minds. And the security situation should stabilize and the appointment should be made so that they can also contain whatever possible outfall that can come, whether it's the NDC or the MPP, which will be declared the official final winner from the courts.
Recently, there was a man of God who was saying that he sees people are plotting coup. Do you think, looking at the inertia that you are talking about in the security, something of this nature can happen?
You can never, when somebody is going to make a coup, he will never come and ask you your permission. He is a dissatisfied person or group of persons who decide to do whatever they want to do for whatever reasons they see. In the bad old days, this constellation of circumstances on the ground would have triggered a coup long ago. Long ago. The profligate or reckless abuse of government funds, the political stalemate, the lack of focus of the securities operators because of the stalemates and the politics that is in the system. I think we have to be very careful. There's a real life danger. I have heard so many people talk about the possibility of a coup, which means a coup is frightening us. We should react very fast and diffuse it. One thing I can say is that the military, or for that matter, the security personnel, they've moved on. They are now more interested in leading their lives and their careers. But let us know that they are a function of the society. And so if the society is talking coup, 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 they are also part of the society. They can think coup, coup, coup. Whatever it is that is causing this talk, we should diffuse it and diffuse it fast. Because if you talk it too often, too long, it could possibly happen. Whether it will be popular or not popular is a different issue. The blatant abuse of state wealth by political operators can trigger something like this. Coupled with the stalemate, the political stalemate in the society, it's not a good situation to be in.
So now that our President Muhammad has appointed Major Kwashi also as a new CD, do you think now he has to focus on appointing who the National Security Coordinator will be, or if he is going to maintain the current, we should know by now?
I am saying he should move full steam ahead and fill all those security slots so that they will be empowered to do what they have to do. The longer this ambivalence persists, the longer the inertia, and the longer the inertia, the more vocal or brazen the forces of discontent or adventure will be. If I have any chance to advise the government, I will advise the government to quickly fill all those slots and get the state machinery or the state security machinery working properly.
Now the teachers are on strike. You talk about the fact that they are on strike because of promises that government made and they have not been able to fulfill. Now, what do you think should be the way forward?
Well, this is a good lesson to the political masters when they are promising. There's so much indiscipline in the promises they make. It comes to bite them. Now, if you have overspent your budget within the last 6 months just because of elections by so much, how can you tell me that you don't have money to pay my allowance? This is the question I'm asking. This is the question I'm asking. So they should be careful with their promises and how we perceive that. If we say we are all broke, how are you handling yourself to convince me we are broke so I should have mercy? I dare say that by the time this year goes to an end, money or no money, we'll see a new fleet of V8s. Now you come and tell a teacher you should take that. Are we cutting our coat according to our size? I just returned from Lagos. You called me. I returned from Nigeria. And on flight, 2 Nigerian businessmen were telling me that the number of Range Rovers and Cayennes they are seeing in Accra, even Lagos or the Abuja,
we don't have that
can't compare. And they were telling us that we should be careful. The way Ghana, it looks like we are learning how to blow money fast. Or even the Nigerians couldn't do that. They're asking that, look, they say they are amazed, but we produce a fraction of the oil they are producing. But the density of V8, Cayennes, and 4x4s they see here, even Lagos or Abuja can challenge them. What right now do we have to tell somebody that I have no money to pay your pay? Or you go somewhere even to borrow money? I'm amazed. The lifestyle we are living in government. I know democracy is expensive. I know government business is expensive. But you do not exacerbate it with extravagance, arrogance, and recklessness.
Captain, what makes this issue very interesting is that people are giving political twist. That it is some group of politicians who are behind these teachers and medical doctors who are now threatening to go on strike. Do you think these intellectuals will sit down for politicians or people in opposition party to influence them?
You know, during the Arab Spring, Tunisia, when the people started protesting, the president said, oh, dissidents and people were instigating them. Al-Qaeda, Gaddafi, he said the same excuse. Mubarak, the same excuse he was also giving. Who is instigating who? What are the conditions on the ground? Who is instigating who? And what are the conditions on the ground for you to be blaming somebody else? It's easy always to blame somebody else, but they are sticking their heads in the sand. When you blame somebody else, you never find a solution to your problem. It's only when you own up to your problem that you start finding solutions to your problems.
There are also people who are saying that National Peace Council has been so quiet about the events that are happening in this country. They managed to ensure that there was some kind of peace during the election, but after the election, they have gone silent. What do you?
I think my respected senior brother or father has been so bent by his foray into political light that I think he's thinking about himself. That is Reverend Manuel Asante, who was the face of the Peace Council. I think the heat they got afterwards, which was also pretty uncalled for, because they actually sacrificed themselves for the peace of Ghana, has gotten to them. So now they are still recovering. But it is amazing that they've been so silent after the elections. They should be putting some pressure on the powers that be to expedite solutions fast. The situation is so fluid, and I don't think they are adept. They are very, very experienced politicians or are good at reading political currents. So I think they are taking their time to understand what is up. But it's a loud silence, very, very loud. And then finally, the government itself should give an indication to us, the people, that they care about their lifestyles. They care about making savings where they can make savings. They care about not giving that attitude like we are in government to steal, or in government to abuse money and power, or we are in government to take a maximum we can take for ourselves, but you people wait, tighten your belt. We should give that they should. It's a symbolism. If even all of them had accepted their salaries and the president had said, me, I can't for my conscience take this increase, if for the symbolism alone, or the president, you see, but if this thing should go to parliament, they will vote for it. If you take it there that they should vote for another money, they will vote for another money for themselves. Then suddenly the Ministry of Finance will find money to pay them. What about the rest? The government should come out, basically demonstrate that we don't want to live a gate life. And whether it is a civil person or a private person, now you are taking pastors to where? On a government trip. Then we will take footballers, football fans and political apparatchiks on a football trip. Who again are we going to take? And you tell
So we have the money, but just that to address pressing issues.
I think our emphasis on deploying the little that we have has been at times very questionable. I'm not saying we have the money to solve all our problems, but the little that we have, the deployment of it has been very questionable. In fact, if government was behaving like this as a business entity, it will collapse. And if any manager of mine should deploy monies the way government has been deploying money, I don't think he will survive long in my company. No businessman will deploy money that way. I can't approve a budget of 50 million cedis to one of my branch managers and I will lose control and oversight.
Not at all.
By the time I do audit, I say I spent 250 hours. How?
Not at all.
Who signed the checks for the money even to go? Who? And who was controlling?
It's you.
That is it. Government should be seen to have repented. Government should be seen to have turned a new leaf. And government should be seen to be trying to change the perception we the public has of it. John Mahama, our president, is young. I think he means well. He needs to act very fast. He should be careful who he surrounds himself also with. If he surrounds himself with only the yes people, he will only blame himself later for it. If he surrounds himself with people who have some strange lifestyles, don't care the type of money they spend, he will regret it in the future. He should go for competence, not partisanship. He should go for an inclusive government, not an exclusive governmentship.